Oh, yeah. Welcome back. That's right. And welcome back. This is your man, Warrior. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Warrior Wednesdays. Let's do a little bit of talking quietly into the microphone. And welcome to Grand Arena. Dave Baker, how's it going? Instinct, how's it going? Grand Arena Championships, Sith style rerun. Oh, and by the way, there's game updates from 2016. Check those out. If you're unsure, you should go to Galaxy of Heroes forums because those updates are going to be really, really good. What's up, Bassrike? What's going on, brother? Exo, what's going on? Steve-O, what is going up? Steve-O's got class shortly. All right, so I do want to hang out and whatnot today. What? I like the little pop-ups. I think they look cheesy, but they're cool. When I say cheesy, I mean they're not real technical. I think you could get better technical pop-ups, polygons. I think you could get better polygons, if you will, if they hired Arnold's team. Arnold and his team, my buddy Arnold, does a way better job at graphic design now than they do. But anyway, they're not spending too much time on that. So I wanted to go in today and I wanted to talk teams. I know a lot of people are like last minute. They got about 5 hours or so before they're going to set their teams for Grand Arena. And they're kind of sweating like, oh, we just came out of 3v3. We're going back into five versus five. Blah, 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 blah. We're going back into 5 versus 5. And what are we setting on defense? What are we holding on offense? And hopefully you guys are checking your enemy. And I did that. I went through and I figured out, you know, what he sets on offense, what he sets on defense, what he variates, you know, what he goes back and forth between offense and defense, what he has a preference towards, you know, what he does well with, what he doesn't do well with. So that way I can kind of see what he struggles with. I looked at all of his team. I noticed a couple teams he was remodding. He forgot to get mods back onto before lock. That's going to suck for the Grand Arena for him. And so it's just pays to do a little bit of your due diligence and check out your competition. That's for sure. So it's just one of those things. My opponent does have, like, you know, all the Galactic Legends, which I do, of course, as well. I'm missing 6 of the Zeta, and it doesn't make a huge difference missing the Zeta. It makes a difference, but it's not a huge difference. And he does have, you know, basically the same kind of roster. We're both at the same galactic power, if you will. This is my favorites. This is where I'm at right now. Working on a droid, trying to get him to Relic 5 for my droid team. I'm basically trying to Relic one person at a time, taking key characters to Relic 5 now, because I have a lot of Relic like 3, and I'm trying to get any of those key characters that are on some really good defensive teams, and we'll talk about those defensive teams here in a second, on those key defensive or offensive teams. You know, from Relic 3 to Relic 5, it just creates that durability on those teams. You don't get the whoopsie, he's dead as often. And so there's that. And then T3 is part of a ship that I use more and more, both on offense and defense. And he's just one finishing piece away from being in Relics. And so I wanted him to be out of there. Plus my OCD, he was floating in the middle of Relics at Gear 12. I didn't like the way that looked. Same thing with Jen Urso, ship, and she was floating in the middle of all my relics at Gear 12, and it bothered my OCD. Kiadi Mundi's up there so I can, you know, request gear and also craft some gear. And then Hoth Rebel Scout is the one Gear 12 that I'm actually building Gear 12 pieces off of. So that's my Gear 12 that I'm like focused on building and whatnot. So yeah, the Ebon Hawk is a great reinforcement. So looks like everybody's jumping in. Ducky made it. Yeah. Can you review the Relic Packs? Absolutely. Now, the Relic Packs, let's do that really quick. We'll do a Worth It series. The issue with the Relic Packs is it's really difficult because they're worth it, but they're not worth it. And what I mean by that is it's nearly $200 for these Relic Packs if you buy them all. And you really, if you're going to do it, kind of like all in type thing, get them all so you have them for relics. The problem is it's, $200 freaking dollars for some relics. So it's just not worth it, right? It's just like $200 for a mobile game. Like why? And it's all farmable stuff that you can crunch and farm. And so really, it's like a targeted audience situation. This is a targeted audience thing where they're really focused on, the really high end, whale kraken. And for the whale kraken, this is a no-brainer. And the reason for that is anybody who's going for those galactic legends, at some point you become me. Okay, let me show you what I'm talking about. After you relic 4 galactic legends, you get to where you go to farm, relic 1 person, and your relic material, even at the lowest end, just becomes difficult. Now, I know that like Arnold, he's a great guy. Arnold is like, and a lot of other people are like, hey, all you have to do is, there's specific key items that you can, farm for and you can fully craft and blah, 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 blah. You can't if you don't have that level of character. I don't have a relic or a level 6 Ugnaught, so I can't go to level 6 Ugnaught and fully craft that one piece that helps me get this one piece, blah, blah, blah. I can't even farm, like, for example, we'll go to this piece, okay? I need these, okay? Now, if I wanted to, and I don't even have much left, but these are worth it right here. But I've used them. I buy them every time they're in the store. I do. Then one of them gives you 7. So that's like super value. This is the thing I tell everybody to get because you can get them for like literally 150 currency for guild currency. And so they're insane value. And I buy them all the time, almost daily. If I see them in there, I buy them every day. But I'm just low because I literally use them every single time. The same with bronzium wiring. And so like you come to bronzium wiring and, you go and you find a specific, thing. But if you look, I'm starting to get low. Now, for example, let's go to these guys, Erodium heat sinks. For example, you don't use these pieces. You fully craft these pieces. Well, I can't fully craft them. I don't have a character I can fully craft them on. That's a bit of a whale problem. So for you all, I would this is a super like pro tip. Don't whale every character up to max. Literally keep a couple characters at a couple different gear levels. Whales will literally tell you this is like their biggest, I wish, probably. Like I wish I had, before Relics ever came out, and this was way before Relics, I had all my characters to gear 12. They were all maxed out. I just was a whale. I had everything maxed out. And then Relics came out. And then we found out you could fully craft stuff. The problem is you can't fully craft this if you don't have a character to craft it on. And so I have no way of crafting this material. So I have to buy it with crystals for 300, or I have to wait until a new character comes out. The only problem is when a new character comes out, you don't want to sit on a new character at like gear 6 or gear 7 forever. If it's a good new character, you want to play with that new character. So you sit on it at gear 6, fully craft what you have available, and then you move on, getting them to gear 11 in relics and blah, blah, blah. So that is a problem for whales, unfortunately. So what does that mean? Well, they know this, that a lot of us whales don't have the ability to fully craft this crap. And so we're sitting with 17 bronzium wiring, and so we're left with having to whale on this crap that we could be fully crafting cheap pieces, but we have no access to fully craft these cheap pieces. It's a unique problem whales have because we don't have low-end characters that we can craft the cheap crap with. It's really a mess. And so we have to buy this stuff. It's really terrible because it's super inefficient to purchase these things. And so here comes along these packs. And so these packs give us for $200, which is way more efficient than the weekly store, everything we need in one neat little bundled package. And it's way more efficient than the store because you're getting 300, 260, 165, 65, 40, 15. I mean, it's the whole kit and caboodle, including the energy, bundles of all the other pieces. So it's not something, if you're obviously free to play, if you're mostly free to play, if you're a dolphin, a small dolphin, that you would use, because this is something, you don't need. But for anybody who's chasing Galactic Legends and you're having to do multiple Relic 7 characters at one time, Relic 7, Relic 7, Relic 7, you're going to find yourself hitting this like paywall of Relic 7 material and you're like struggling. These are worth it. It will just take you to that next level. And unfortunately, this is just one of those things that you're either going to have to take the time to grind out those pieces over time, or you're going to have this will speed that time frame up. Now, again, pro tip, do what Arnold does, and that is keep a character at like gear level 6, like Ugnaught, and keep another character at like gear level 9, so you can fully craft those chintzy pieces that give you these gear pieces, so you don't have to get these. Because again, this is a unique problem for whales, that they have to actually get these things because they can't fully craft these pieces. Like, for example, myself, super hindsight. But the thing was, a lot of us, we had all of our characters too high before Relics came out, and we kind of got duped, if you will. So kind of sucks. But it would be nice if the packs had more in them. They are pretty chintzy with what they provide for what you're paying. That's just Capital Games with, what they have in here. The packs are still not, I mean, it's still, not a ton. I mean, that's still not a lot of material. But if you were to take and purchase individually each and everything, it's still more than the $64 you'd buy with the crystals to get those things out of the whale store. So it's a relatively good buy with Capital Games, if you will, if you're considering Capital Games conversion, if you will. And like I said, what you're buying is time. You're buying speeding up time, and that's a huge time saver. I mean, farming relic material, especially that third level, like for example, let me go back into here. This material right here, man, this is the worst, dude. This stuff you could farm 300 crystals worth a day and you get like 15. It's just terrible. It is absolutely terrible. So Bassreich says he uses Ugnaught and Imperial Super Commando at the low levels. And see, that's what I'm talking about. I just don't have low level characters. So yeah, like I said, when Relics came out, this is the bottom of my, this is the bottom, you know what I mean? This was my Ugnaught, and it's like, oh, I'm not going to be able to fully craft that stuff. That sucks. That's my fault, but you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know they were going to punish the people who gave them the money to support the game. And they did. They were like, hey, let's punish everybody, who supports the game. So yeah, that's a thing. So what I wanted to talk about today is GAC, Grand Arena Championships. It's launched. We're going to talk about offensive teams, defensive teams, what holds best. We're going to look at the percentages. We're going to go into all of that. I'm super excited. So pretty excited about that. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, it's weird. I'm not even at 8 million. Like, you look at Arnold T101 and he's over my galactic power. He's at like 8.1 million. He's like 200,000 GP higher than me. Yet I have everything gear 12 and he doesn't. He has like 4 rows of like really chintzy people at the bottom, and I have all gear 12. I don't know how GP works, man, apparently, because he's got higher GP than me, but I have all gear 12 and he does not. So I don't know how that works, but whatever. All right, we're going to go and let's do this. A boom, boom, because that is what we want to focus on right now. Grand Arena Meta Squads. So this is SWGOH.GG, aka SWGOH. Na. So I love SWGOH. It's been around for a long time. I've met the guys who developed this website. They are really, really great dudes. And so, yeah, everybody's trying to figure out what it is. It might be that he has some higher relics, some mods, some ship stuff. It's probably a combination of all of that. So we're going to go into win percentage on attacking, because that's what's most important. What has the highest win percentage? First, we're going to go on the attack, and it's going to show how often we see this on attack, the win percentage, and then like the average banner rate, like what you get for banners, which is pretty good. So that's pretty neat. So yeah, we're going to go through that, and we can kind of scroll through and take a look and see all of these. We can go to more and stuff, but I think this is a pretty good list. And by the way, you can go to SWGOH.GG, and there's a banner at the very, very top that says, you know, Grand Arena Championships, click here. You click here, it will take you. But if you don't, on the very top, it has this GAC meta. You can click it, and then it's got these different things like GAC home, top GAC squads, leaders, all that kind of stuff. So I chose season 13 because that's the last 5 versus 5 that we had. And I'll be honest, I don't even remember the last 5 versus 5. It just feels like an eternity for me. And I didn't do that well either. And so and you only have to set 7 teams comparatively to 11. That's 4 less teams. It just feels different for sure. I like 3 versus 3. I'll be honest. I ended in Kyber. I did well. I felt good about it. I don't know about you, but I did. I felt good about 3 versus 3. I know a lot of people do not like 3 versus 3. So this is more like the real game. So for a lot of people, we're going back to it. Well, you may not have a lot of these teams. Some of you will, some of you won't, but this is going to be what the data shows people are using. So the first one is gas plus 501st. So if you have it, you may want to seriously consider using it for offense. It's kind of the I can open anything up. Now, he works exceptional against Night Sisters, and the reason for that is when someone dies, they stay dead. That's pretty good. So for anything that is going to have revive, you can use it against the revives and they don't revive. So pretty neat. That is really good. The other thing is he's very, 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 very powerful. So he can also be used against Galactic Legends. You can use him against basically the Galactic Legend Kylo. So he's very popular against Kylo. Kylo Ren will have kind of an obsession with 5s, and you can kind of exploit that. He also has, you know, a very powerful double hit, which can take Kylo out. I've used him to kind of clean Kylo up if I take in an alternate team to kill Kylo, because I try to take in some alternate teams, and then a lot of times those alternate teams just don't work. So you try, you know what I mean? You try with some alternate teams, but sometimes they don't work. Anyway, he ends up being a cleanup team sometimes. So that is a very powerful offensive team. There's also another variant of this, which is, of course, you know, your the team right below it, the 501st, with Shak Ti. That's a really strong variant. It's seen a ton, 19,000 times in that Grand Arena Championships. Now, that's not how many times it was used. It was used far more than that, because not everybody is plugged into SWGOH.GG. This is just how many people are plugged into the website that used it. But that's a good, you know, assumption of, you know, kind of the percentage of how often it's used. You know, 9 out of 10 times being, you know, 93% of the time, that's a pretty good win rate, 9 out of 10 times. 54 banners average, pretty good. So if you didn't have gas yet, but you have the 501st because you're building up to gas, and you had Shak Ti, this would be a good alternative variant to a gas team for offense. So pretty cool. What's up, CB? And what's up, Felipe? And then, of course, Darth Revan on offense. He's another, like, you can basically beat almost any team. In fact, he works really, really well against Galactic Legends as well. And that's another reason why on offense he's so popular. You can use this team against the Jedi Master Luke. And the reason is of the kind of balancing of health, if you will, when they, do their damage, instead of killing him, it balances the health. Plus with Malik is really hard to kill. And HK revives his health on his own. Same thing with Sith Marauder. He can revive his health really, really well. So a very durable team when they take damage. And then on offense, they just neuter the opponent offensively, and then they get a lot of turn meter going. And they can really chew through like a Jedi team like Jedi Master Luke. I've used this a lot on offense to chew through Jedi Master Luke teams. So it's difficult, but it's totally doable. And then it has a, 93, almost 93% win rate. So not too bad. 55 banners. So a little higher than those first two teams. Pretty good. And it was used 31,000 times, which is funny. The top team was used over 100,000 times. So gas is pretty popular. But this one, 31,000 times, really high win rate. So really, really popular. The next team used is Kylo Ren on offense. He's a Galactic Legend, but a lot of people save Galactic Legends for their offense. And the reason for that is because sometimes, you can set some pretty good B teams and then use your Galactic Legends to beat the potential Galactic Legends set on defense. Sometimes mirror matches are the way to go. Not really, but that, if you don't have solid non-GL counters, the best way for you to beat a GL is with a GL for a lot of people, if they're not comfortable with a non-GL counter. So this is one way. I notice most people I go against, they don't set him on defense. They use him for offense to kind of, pull apart whatever team they need to pull apart. 9 out of 10 times they win. Over 18,000 people used him. So pretty popular team to utilize. Right below him, CLS. Now, CLS is a really great team. You can use him in mirror matches. You can use him against the droids. You can use him against Night Sisters, which is pretty popular as well because of the countering and AoE, especially if you got the Zeta on Chupio. You can use him against quite a few teams. The only team I probably wouldn't take him against is, like a Darth Revan team, but works pretty well. Really high-end damage. Some people will set this team on defense because they're going to pull their Han out of this team for a counter, for a GL counter, and then they'll put a different character in this team, and they'll put this on defense and stuff. So, but for offense, you definitely want your this team exactly as it kind of shows here. So this specific team composition is a great offensive team. I've also seen this team utilized, and I've utilized it against like a Ray team, specifically to just chew through Ray teams. I'm not talking about GL Rays, but non-GL Rays. Any non-GL Ray team, this thing can just destroy it lightning fast. So something to think about when you're not at the like super highest end, because a lot of people aren't at that like super highest end. And so you're facing like, Relic Ray teams with a couple droids and maybe the Robe Bros. This is going to do well. Those Robe Bros can get into the 300 speeds and lots of damage. This can kind of put a chink in that team. Again, here's a couple variants of, Darth Revan and Kylo Ren, of course, and then Padme on offense. And so lots of people use Padme for offense. I personally have used her on offense, but I like to, a lot of times, I can change it up, and I will change it up. I'm going to decide on exactly what teams to set based on my opponent. But I like a lot of times to use Padme on defense. It pulls a really hard counter, and I like to pull those counters. But there's different variants right here on Padme, and so that's one of those things to take a look at. Padmes are good on offense because if you can, as long as you don't have, someone stripping your protection up, very, 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 very durable team that it's a control team. You can take your time, control the battle, take out who you need to take out. Lots of damage with that courage. And so just different variants, with R2-D2. R2-D2 is a really good variant. You can see it's used quite a bit. And R2-D2 shares his stats if you have his Zeta. And so he can add, offense and health and things like that to the team, which is crazy. The other variant was C-3PO, really good variant because he, just neuters the other team. Or, of course, adding Shock T if you don't have her with your clones. Shock T, man, it really pumps this team up. So really, really crazy. And then, of course, a lot of people for offense use their Jedi Knight Revan. And keep in mind, if they don't have a Galactic Legend or they don't have Jedi Knight Luke, this variant right here with Bastila, this is kind of the original, team from a couple years ago when Jedi Knight Revan first came out. Basti and Jolie Bindo. It's kind of your standard arena team that you used to use. This is one that you can use if you're not like at the super highest end, or if you're at the high end and you've set some of your other Jedi on defense. This is a really good team you could take in against like a GG team, a General Grievous team, because you've got revives, you've got cleanses, you've got the marks, so you can take out specifically who you want to take out, and you can really focus down on someone who you want to take out. So this one's pretty popular, 87% of the time, so almost 9 out of 10 battles are won when they take it out. 47,000 times it was used on offense last season, so that's pretty popular. Another variant of Padme, and this variant actually has Barriss Offee, so the coffee girl. That's what my brother calls her, coffee Barriss. She really pumps this team up if you can get insane health on her, because she can cleanse. She gains speed, turn meter. So she gets faster and faster, and she cleanses the team, and she does the health equalization. She's just a really, really solid character to add to this team with the protection on one side and the health on the other side. This is a really batty team on offense or on defense. And then General Grievous, there's a few different variants, but this specific one is just kind of the core General Grievous team. They're showing this specifically for offense, and what this team is on offense, you can use it for against a lot of teams. But you could use it against Rebels, or you could use it against some other teams, like Jedi or whatnot. The real trick on this is just basically keeping protection up on your tank and really focusing down on specific stripping, the protection up on a Padme team with your B2, things like that, and focusing down. But you've really got to... Padme teams are much more difficult with the General Grievous team, because you've really got to be strategic about stripping that protection up. If you do that, they're very vulnerable, but if that protection up is up, it's just very difficult to get through that shell of their team. And then for offense, of course, we've got Imperial Troopers. Now, my Imperial Troopers are nowhere near where they need to be. Their mods suck. I've stripped all their mods off of them. For other teams, I just don't have them where they need to be relic-wise. I don't have all their Zetas where they need to be, and their mods aren't where they need to be, and so I just don't have this team. It's an amazing team, and I really do at some point want to finish off their Zetas, their relics, and get them all Relic 5, get their Zetas, and then put some really quality mods on this team, because it would be really nice to see this amazing team in action under me for sure. 14,000 times used. That's a little underutilized for the last time, but people are using it on offense, and when used, it worked 85% of the time. And check this out, banners, 59 banners. That's one of the highest of all of them. It means when the train rolls, it rolls correctly. When it rolls wrong, it rolls wrong. And so I'm on the, what's up, Nightmare? Nightmare says Morning Warrior. Keaton says hi as well. So anyway, that's one of those teams. I'm in the 15%. Every time I try and use it, it just backfires. I try to use mine to clean up Night Sisters, and it seems like the Night Sisters stun lock me, and I always lose. And so that just comes down to modding. incorrect modding, you will lose every time. You've really got to get that turn meter train going. So yeah, Nightmare. 60% of the time, it works every time. And I am that 40% of the time with them. Bugs. Now, bugs could be used on offense or defense, but they're a great offensive team. You can use them very strategically to control specific teams such as Old Republic or Separatist teams or Bounty Hunter teams. I mean, these are pretty good teams to clean up like other specific teams. They can even work against like Padme teams. You just have to be careful. Take them against a Padme team and they have like Barasafi. Okay, sorry. Bad choice. You know what I mean? So you got to be really, really careful. Their win rate's only 8 out of 10. So people shows that people are making the wrong choices. 2 out of 10 times they're picking the wrong team. They're picking that Padme team with Barris and they're like, oops, I didn't mean to do that. I've done that before in my past too. And you're like, oh yeah, I think I can one-shot someone. Yeah, no, you can't. They modded correctly and but they're still a really good team on offense. You just got to make sure you're picking your targets correctly. Take your time. Bounty Hunters, solid offensive choice. This is a really, really good team. Not utilized as much, 18,000 times, 8 out of 10 times it's a win, 2 out of 10 times it's not. I mean, you can use this team to go against Darth Revans if modded correctly. That's crazy. You can use it against other Bounty Hunter teams, way more effective than other Bounty Hunter teams. This specific team can clear a Bounty Hunter team out fast. Scoundrel teams, General Grievous teams, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You can use this against tons of, B-level teams. You can take out Padme teams with this real easy. So, I mean, there are a lot of teams you can take out with this team. So it's very fast, easy to get payout, and then you just start annihilating fools with Mandalorians. So really, really, really good team. Modding needs to be done correctly, but it's a good team if used correctly. And then the last couple of teams are kind of no-brainers. This next one is another Jedi Knight Revan, but it's the variant with Luke. Jedi Knight Luke. Jedi Knight Luke, obviously Jedi Knight Luke just pumps this team to the next level. And Old Ben in there. Old Ben gives you more control with the ability to turn meter, reduce, and ability block that kind of gives you additional time to do what it is you're going to do. With Jedi Knight Luke being able to, stun and, critically lock people plus dispel on his basic. Just really, really powerful. Plus Bastila, zooming Luke up like that, giving him that superpower. Whoop. So crazy. And then last but not least, Night Sisters. There's a lot of people who use Night Sisters on offense. I tend to see people who use Night Sisters on offense using Mother Talzin as the lead for offense. And the reason is if things go south, you definitely want to be able to revive your team with a kill. So that Zeta lead is important. If things go south with Asajj, you lose them kind of thing. So Mother Talzin lead with Zeta is important. And this was used 33,000 times. 75% of the time, it worked every time, Nightmare. So kind of funny. 25% of the time it didn't work, and that's because the Night Sisters are starting to fall out of favor a little bit. I think people haven't really spent the time to remod this team the way it needs to be remodded to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. It's a difficult team for a lot of the newer teams because of all of the insane kind of damage output, the power creep that's coming up. And there's a lot of AoE that's out there now, and the AoE at Relic 5 and 7 can clean a Night Sister team out, and you take 2 of those hits and it's just game over, set and match. So it's just one of those things you got to really be careful with what team you take in and how you're doing it. If it's a single hit team, a team that doesn't have any AoEs or, anybody that really does AoEs and you can control who's what, I mean, you can still win, but you got to be careful. If they got some AoE experts, got to be real, real careful. Don't want to take it in against bounty hunters that are doing AoEs and they're able to kill you and not let you revive. That's going to be a problem. So there's some really great offensive teams. So for defense, you're going to lose. Your defense teams are going to lose. So a lot of people are going to basically come down to what holds the greatest percentage of the time. And you're not going to have all these teams again, but the biggest thing is going to come down to what holds the biggest percentage of the time. And so obviously Galactic Legends hold the best, most of the time. And the first one is surprisingly Kylo. I kind of thought Kylo wouldn't be up here. And the reason is, Kylo's pretty easy to beat in arena with Jedi. Kylo's easy to beat with a mirror match. Kylo's easy to beat with non-GL counters now. He's been out for, almost a year. And so I kind of figured, a lot of people don't even put him on defense anymore, but I'll be honest, when he's on defense, when people do set him on defense, he is always annoying because I normally have set other things on defense that would be what I would use in arena to kill him. So my standard easy peasy attack is gone and on defense most of the time. And so then I do have to use some secondary teams to kill him. And he's not an easy kill with those secondary teams, I'll be honest. So that's why, in Grand Arena, he makes such a good defensive team because if you're not the faster, he's going to have a good chance of winning on defense. And if you're doing a mirror match, and if you're doing a non-mirror match, it's difficult. It really is difficult. And he's getting almost 40% hold, man. That is really, 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 really good because most teams don't get a 20% hold. So he's getting like more than double what any other team gets. That is power in defense. If you have him, you probably should be setting him on defense. You really should, and you should be using other GLs on offense if you're going to hold a GL for offense. I mean, this is a really good defensive team. It's just, proof in the pudding kind of thing. And then number 2, no surprise, is Rey. She's always been a really good defense, but this is a Rey plus 2 tanks, the Robros plus 2 tanks, Holdo and L3. You could also use someone like Vandor, a tank that, regenerates health and protection, things like that. So it's one of those things where you can do 1 tank, 2 tanks. I am going to throw in a professional recommendation. There comes my salesman coming out of me. If you're going to do Rey on defense in this world now, I would definitely recommend doing Rey plus Rey. And the reason why is because the other Rey has locking health, health down, health immunity, like you can't heal immunity. And the reason why that's important is she'll put that on C, Sith Eternal Emperor. And as long as you got high, you did really good offense modding on your Robros, they're going to do mad damage to C. And before C gets, his damage off and stuff, because what a lot of people are using for that now is C plus Watt or C plus Watt and then, a couple of, Sith. With Rey, if you have the other Rey who does health immunity, she's going to lock that healing immunity down on C, and then he's not going to be able to heal or get protection back or anything like that. And they're going to be able to do damage enough that before he gets his ultimate off, he's dead. I've seen this actually play out multiple times in territory wars and things like that. And so I've seen that's why people put her with her. So if you're going to go on defense, put her on defense, put her with her other Rey, just to make sure that it's more difficult for Rey, the counter of C plus Watt, because C plus Watt is kind of the go-to counter now. It's a really cheap chintzy counter. A lot of people use it to kill Rey. And then they're going to use possibly C plus Watt plus the Armorer against, Kylo. And so make them use that against Kylo or something, but you don't want them to do that against Rey. Rey's a really, really good counter. It's very difficult. You don't want them to use 2 characters to kill her, so use the other Rey. I know a lot of people like using Rey separately with like the droids and stuff, and that is a good offensive follow-up team potential to like have as a team to follow up, to clean up and things like that, or go against bounty hunters. I totally agree. But if you're going to set her on defense, if you want to increase your defense percent from 25, percent to like more like 40% of the time, put the other Rey with her. That's going to do it. And then we saw CLS on offense, but we also see him on defense. And the reason is the same team. The reason is just as easy as he is a can opener to take out other teams, he's one hell of a team to beat. And the truth is, if you've got a really fast Han, that the game's been fixed to where who the fastest Han goes first. This can go south real quick if it's a mirror match and they have a faster Han. I mean, real fast. And so then they're having to take in like, General Grievous or something like that. And even then with General Grievous, this can go south. It really can go south. They might, they're not going to get perfect banners. They're probably going to get low scoring banners. And even if that, it might go south and they're going to have to clean it up with something else. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? If you've got, some tenacity on these fools, they may not be able to get target lock laid down. So this is just a really interesting team to have on defense. I, in the past, have used them a lot on offense because they're just a really great, what I would call can opener. They can kind of open anything. Most all B teams, they're dead, and then a few A teams. But, there's an interesting concept with defense now being utilized. So good team on defense for sure. And then, of course, Revan teams, they're used a lot for offense, and they're really effective. 9 out of 10 times they win on offense, but they're really great for defense because outside of Galactic Legends, really fast Darth Revan teams are a nightmare. You know what I mean? Like, this is the stuff that nightmares are made of, really. Metaphorically nightmare, right? Nightmare's watching going, hey man, well, what can I say? But seriously, every time I go into Grand Arena and somebody has their Darth Revan team built up and I look at their speeds, I'm always like, I'm just going to do a mirror match. You know what I mean? I got my Darth Revan. I'm just going to do a mirror match. And then they're outspeeding me. I'm like, can't do a mirror match. And then you're like, oh, just taking my gas. Yeah, right. Because it's still a super inefficient battle. So then you're like, what do I do? So you take in Kylo. Well, now they're pulling a Galactic Legend out of your, I mean, that's boom, 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 they win. You know what I mean? Like, even if you win with a Galactic Legend, they just pulled a Galactic Legend out of your, that's the whole point. The whole point of that on defense is to screw you out of your best team. That's the point. So this is a really good team on defense. And if they set all of their Galactic Legends and they don't have a faster mirror match, there's a chance they might not even beat this and clear you. So it's just a really, really good suggestion or thought. You really need to pay attention to what your opponent has. And my opponent doesn't even have mods on his Darth Revan team, sadly. This is going to be bad for him. So William Terry says his Darth Revan's only 347. That is horrible. That's amazing, dude. That is absolutely amazing. Yeah. So General Grievous on offense, right? Or actually, this is defense. We're talking defense, right? Yeah, we're defense now. So General Grievous has a couple different options for defense. One with Watt. The Watt version is strong. It's probably the strongest for defense. Variant, or the one with Newt, and that's the one a couple down. Both the Newt variant and the Watt variant are very, very strong for defense. If you're going to set General Grievous on defense, I do professionally recommend one of these two variants. I do recommend having Magna Guard in there, and then B1 and B2 for sure. Because B1 is going to give you all of that offense. The higher the relics, the better. It's stacking offense. Plus, you got B2 for stripping that protection away, the buff immunity, all that. And Magna Guard, the nonstop taunt. You need that nonstop taunt. And then, of course, you've got GG, man, with as much health as possible. But Magna Guard is going to make sure that Watt's going to make sure your taunter's taunting, your offense damage dealer's doing as much damage as possible, and Newt is going to be passing that extortion around like a fool, man. He's going to be bop, 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 bop. Now, the other defensive team is, of course, the 501st. That was the #1 used offensive team, but it was used almost 17,000 times on defense, and it had a 20% hold rate, which is basically what any good team gets on defense. 20% hold, 20% of the time is 1 out of 5. That's about as good as it gets. Aside from Kylo, that's about as good as it gets for any other team. I mean, like I said, the only other team that gets higher than 20% is Rey. She gets 25%. Outside of Rey, it's Kylo. Other than that, everything else is 20% or less. So that's basically as solid as you get. So the GAC team is a difficult team to beat. My brother has got kind of a lower end team, and his GAC team is basically his best team. And so he puts that solidly on defense every time. And he wins a lot of his battles strictly by putting gas on defense. So there's that. And again, that same variant we talked about with, Shock T with the 501st. If you don't have gas yet, you could put Shock T. It's the same thing on defense, right? 18% of the time there's a hold there as well. And then we're going into the Padme teams. So there's Padme, 3 different variants, with Barriss, with a C3PO, and then with R2D2. So those are those 3 variants. Just like on offense, those same teams could be used for defense. And I actually like Padme on defense, and this is why. Padme is a great control team for offense, really great control team for offense. But again, it's like Darth Revan. You put them on defense, and it forces your opponent to use a super meta team to beat, or they have to play like really, really well. And so if they're not playing really well, they're going to lose and you're going to get a hold, or they got to play insanely well or use a meta team. And that's exactly the point. You want them to pull a meta team. Why? Because you're going to have something in the back as a surprise, hopefully. So, and you want to, it's like paper, rock, scissors, right? You want them to pull a meta team, and you're like, I think they're going to need to pull this team for this, but they're going to need that team for my surprise. And hopefully I make them pull this team that I know they're going to need for this team. And so that's the idea. That's the goal. And hopefully I make them pull the right team. And if they pull it, then when they get to the back and see it, they're going to be like, crap, that was the team I needed for that team. That just happened to me actually in the last Grand Arena Championships, round 2. The guy put, or was round 1, I can't remember, round 1 or 2 in the very last round. I used my counter in the front, and it was the counter I needed in the back. And I couldn't clear their Padme because I used my Padme counter in the front, and then I didn't have a Padme counter for the back. And so it just is what it is. He was smart. He made me use my Padme counter that I didn't, So anyway, that's exactly what you want. That's exactly what you want. So very, very, very smart. And then of course, here's a Rey team. If you don't have Rey, the actual Galactic Legend, we're talking about Rey Jedi training with the Row Bros and then the 2 droids. You don't even have to use the Row Bros if you don't have them yet. You can use Rey plus 2 droids plus any others. I mean, I have used a multitude of variants inside of here that'll work really, really well. And then Separatists, of course, like Newt with, Droidic. The reason why they use, Count Dooku, is because he goes stealth and he just counters multiple times, regenerates protection, he stuns, ability blocks, he's annoying. Droidica rolls up, gets damage immunity, right? Nest goes with protection up, and then Extortion goes wild on this team. Plus, you get damage immunity immediately with Jango. So it's just like, this is a stupid, annoying team. The crazy thing is, it's a really, theoretically amazing team. When you go against it, super annoying, but it only has a 9% hold rate. Only 9%. It's used about 16,000 times. But it's an idea, but it only held 9% of the time. So Dooku does, help with the extortion for sure. But 9% of the time, it's kind of lower on that totem pole for, quality teams now. It's starting to kind of fall, if you will, out of favor. Still a solid team. It does pull, if you look at your history, it will pull some decent counters. You'll see some kind of higher end counters. You're like, good. I'm glad I pulled that team for it. It still makes people sweat. I'll tell you that. People still are like, whoops, didn't see that. And so get some kind of crazy. It's a good team to put on the front because people will probably overspend, meaning that they'll use a team that's like too good for it. And that's what you want. So that way they don't have that team for the back. And so it's just a solid team to put on the front, forcing them to use something that they don't want to have to use. And then they won't have that counter for the back. And if they go in with something a little less than, they'll lose. And then you've got to hold. And so they always go in with something better than, and then they end up losing a counter. So it's a good team. It's a good team, even though the holds show low. It's actually a solid team. And then Night Sisters, again, this is a defensive team, but if I was doing this on defense, the truth is everyone goes in on this team with something like bounty hunters so they don't revive, or gas so they don't revive, or you know what I mean? Like you're going to kill the Night Sisters with teams that kill them that don't revive. You know, Imperial Troopers, so you kill them really, really quick. And so what I actually do is you switch Asajj with Night Sister or with Mother Talzin, and the reason is you're going to get the reviving with old Daka, and you're going to get the reviving with the double revives that you get from the tank. And then you just need a R7 Mother Talzin or R7 old Daka and get her like over 200,000 health, because it makes it, I mean, the rockets won't kill her. The AoEs won't kill her. The Imperial Troopers can try. They can like, blah, 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 but takes so long to like whittle her down that by that time people are being revived and you can stun lock. So make sure everyone's potency is insanely through the roof on this team. Have her at R7, 200,000 health, and then switch them because you get so much speed with Asajj as the lead. And there's that extra potency, but so speed and potency from her. So switch them, put Asajj as the lead, and then just focus on old Daka. R7, 200,000 health, and you'll start to get a few more holds than you've ever got before. And the rest of the team can kind of be like R3 or whatever. And people will be like, oh, that's easy. R3, I can do that. And then they'll take in, you know, maybe an average Imperial Trooper team and lose. And they'll be like, what the hell? And then they won't realize that it's like, cause you had one character totally tricked out and she was kind of impervious to all those tricks. Or they'll try to rocket it with, you know, a bounty hunter team, and then she'll survive, and then she stun locks the team with her basic because she's faster than normal in stun locking. So it's not the highest team up there and stuff on defense, but it's also not one of the best teams to use on offense. And again, you can kind of surprise people with this team, so you just use it on defense. But like I said, people are going to use their characters that are going to make it to where they can't revive if they die. So try to make sure old Daka's in there as a survivable character, because if they go after her and she dies, she's dead. And that's what they try to do. They try to go after her first. So let them focus on her. And in the meantime, the other characters are going to kill their team. So, you know, a lot of strategy there. They try to kill her and then boom. But anyway, that team isn't very much in favor. There's like 9% of the time it gets a hold, but it was used on defense 90,000 times, which means everybody's tossing this in. So what that means is you better have a plan. You better have a plan on how to kill Night Sisters, because you're going to see it on defense statistically. It's going to be put on defense. So you better have a plan on how to kill Night Sisters. You know, bounty hunters, gas, scoundrels, something. You know, you better have a plan. CLS, GG, whatever. You better have a plan. You know, Jedi, whatever. You better have a plan to kill them. Below that, you've got bounty hunters. It's kind of a variant with Bosk, 8% of the time held, and 24,000 times used. Mon Mothma. Now, this one is interesting because it's a pretty dang good team on defense, and it was only used 18,000 times, and it only had an 8% hold rate, but it really pulls good teams. You have to really pull something good to beat this. So, you know, it is a better team than what it's leading on to be with the stats here. So for you, if you have the double Zeta on Mothma, not a lot of people do. I mean, those are like what I would call luxury Zetas. Luxury Zetas are Zetas where like the majority of us can't have them because we just can't be Zetaing those kinds of people because we just don't have that luxury, right? Those are luxury Zetas. Well, I don't have a double Zeta on Mothma, but it would be cool to have this team. If you had this team, this is a solid, you know, this variant or some variant of the Mon Mothma team would be a good team. And I think it would pull a solid thing. Like they'd probably take the Triumvirate in to beat this team, or they would take in, you know, something. The Bugs do beat this team, by the way. The Geonosians do well against Mon Mothma. I think those types of teams do well against each other, just like Mon Mothma works decent against the Bugs and vice versa. So that's a pretty decent team. The Bugs being used on defense almost 100,000 times. So people like the Bugs on defense. Really, they lean in on the Bugs being the defense. But at this point, You know, 8% hold rate. It's people know the trick. It's a one trick pony type thing. A lot of people are, you know, taking in teams. There's a lot of teams now that can beat the bugs. So they either have like really high relic Jawas, and they're just using the Jawa, you know, thermal thing. So they're just surviving long enough until the thermals kill them off, or they're using, you know, Sith, so they can get the triumvirate to do it. And so they're dying because of that. If, by the way, if you're using the triumvirate, you know, you really have to be kind of the same relic level. You also need to have that ability to make sure you survive the mollywop from the spy, because if the spy mollywops somebody, like, you know, I don't know, you can lose. You really can. You got to be careful, especially if they're really high relic levels. So just be careful. But the bugs are still utilized a lot. They're actually the most utilized defensive team in the entire top 20 list. So if you have them, you know, they're definitely kind of a go-to. Although a lot of people use them for offense for either cleanup, or they can use them for some like B, C level teams to kind of, if they see somebody kind of went all in on their offense and they left some B and C teams on defense, you can use them to easily clean some of those teams. And then the bottom two are teams I would probably not recommend anymore. They're being used a lot as filler teams, but they're just not very good. And that is a filler first order team. And the reason why that's being used a lot is because if you relic characters, why not use them, right? And so people are like, well, I've spent all the money relicking all these characters, or the time relicking all these characters. Why not use them in the first order? So they're doing that. They're setting a first order team on defense, because it's like, I got all these relic characters, I might as well. That's especially for people that have like just one Galactic Legend and they've got all these first order, and they're like, what am I going to do with this entire Relic 7, Relic 5 first order team? Well, set it on defense, because, you know, they're not going to use it on offense. So that's what that's about, but it doesn't hold well. If you see 4% hold, not very good. And so it's only used 11,000 times. The same thing with the Karth team. Karth team is only holds 2% of the time. Really, really, really at this point in the juncture of the game, really easy to beat. I mean, if you're setting it, it's because you have no other teams at this point. It really shouldn't be used. Now, using, you know, Juhani in a Jedi team, yes. Using Karth in a Scoundrel team, yes. Using, you know, Mission and Zalbar, if they're like Relic 5 in a Scoundrel team or something like that, maybe, yes. Like cherry picking a few of these characters out for another team, totally. I completely hear you and see that as an option. I would love to see some creative teams like that. But hopefully, you know, this is going to help you guys kind of see where you're at with like defense teams for this next Grand Arena, and then for offensive teams. Hopefully it gives you some ideas as to what's the best for holding and win rate, the hold rate and the win rate. Let's go ahead, and I'm just going to do a little bit in my account, and Noxba. And then we'll get out of here. But I do have a story time, and then but I want to play a little bit too. So yeah, here's my favorites. Kiadi Mundi. I'm 5 territory battles away from getting him leveled up. That's 5 is 5 months. That is sad. Makes me sad. Let's see. Territory war is coming. It's like winter is coming. Winter's coming. Shipments. Let's see if there's anything good in shipments before it changes. I desperately need the shipments, because like I said, I can't fully craft a bunch of those things. I need a new character that really sucks to come out, so I can have that character at like gear 6, so I can fully craft all the relic pieces. So please bring out a really trash character, please. Right here. Let's see. It's these pieces in here I need. I mean, I'm spending all of them, and see, there's not a lot in there. Crapola. Let's see what event we have today. So the Bounty Hunter Challenge, I did everything up till tier 5. And I got all the feats for 5, 6, and 7, except for full Mandalorian squad. And I could try tier 5 and probably get full Mandalorian squad on 5. I might even win full Mando squad on tier 6. But 6 of these Bantha burritos and 5 of these Bantha burritos is 11. That would magically put me at 1 short for the stupid box, which means I have to get all the way up here. And I have tried to use my Mandos in every composition I have. And I don't have all the Zetas, by the way, you guys. I don't have like hardly any of the Zetas because I'm Zeta poor. I don't have, like I said, I'm missing 6 Zeta on GLs, and GLs are the #1 priority in the game for me right now. So all my Zeta go to my Galactic Legends. So all my Mandalorians are, Relic 3 or so, but they're not Zeta'd. So I have to win tier 7 to get the next box. But there's no way. I've tried every combination. I've played it carefully. I've tried to get the payout and use his, zip zap to kill him, and there's just no way. So I'm going to have to settle again. This is the second time with the full Mandalorian squad that I have to settle with second tier rewards, which is fine. All right, let's get some Zeta. And you know what team I enjoyed doing this with is actually Sith Empire. It's just fun. You don't meet the minimum character requirements. That's funny they don't let you go in with undersized squad. Exo says, where would I use Cam? I would use him probably under Jedi Master Luke would be where I would probably use him. But you really need the Zeta on those characters. The Mandalorian needs Zeta. I mean, there's so much. Just for the sake of this, we'll go full auto. Because wow, 174,000. That was pretty quick. Not pretty neat. Yeah, the Zeta make a huge difference because I've seen people with my same mods basically and the same relic levels, and I followed their stuff to a T, and it does not go anywhere close to what I'm doing. But I think like I said, I think the mods make not the mods, but I think the Zetas make a huge difference on that team. They really, really do. So, all right, Sith, throw your sabers. It's so funny. They're like, clank, 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 clank. Die, animal boy. 48K, 74K, 46K, 53K, 217K. Oh, man, I can't. I love when he does his saber throw. It's just fun to watch. That's why I like to take them in here. Boom. 35K. 67K, 58K, 54K, 63K. This is one hell of a 76K, 143. He takes one hell of a whop. Whop, whop. Gear 8, armor. Nice. I've never gotten more than 2 Zeta off this, but my brother got 4 off of this. I know it says 2 to 4, anywhere from 2 to 4. The RNG gods have never blessed me with 4. I was hoping for some luck on this live stream. Some live stream luck. Didn't happen today. One of these days, though. Let's take out Tebow. Bassreich says that what surprised him was Cam letting I'm a Gun Die have insane damage output, and that is for sure. I haven't had a chance to play, but I got to see his video on that, Arnold's video, and that looks like a lot of fun. Looks like a lot of fun. I won't know for 6 months. So I guess we'll find out once I have a chance to do that in 6 months. I like Jedi, but You know, there's so many in this game. Everyone's like, we need more Jedi. I'm like, oh, please, God, don't. We don't need more Jedi. We've got like 6 rows of Jedi in the game. If we're going to do anything with the Jedi, just rework the ones we have. Like, come on, give us a reworked Mace. You know what I mean? Come on. Make Mace great again. Just give him the abilities that he already has in the game from his PvE character. You know what I mean? Just give him that. Just make it to where when he hits somebody, the next time he hits them, they die. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool. That's pretty neat. You know what I mean? Just give him that. That's all he needs. So funny. He's trash. And he's got a capital ship, and he's trash. But whatever. I would like to see them rework a few characters. But reworks don't make them any money. So they do those obligatorily, a few a year, to kind of keep up with the Joneses. They'll do a few reworks. I'm really hoping that we get a rework of Mace this year. But Hondo, that's what I'm hoping for this year. I'm hoping for the Pirates, to see at least 5 Pirates this year would be nice. So we could build a 5 versus 5 team. 5 Pirates, that would be ideal in my opinion. And then, a couple reworks, a new faction, that would be cool. And then a new game mode. That would, they're already bringing Conquest, which is a new game mode. So my Ewoks have ADD. They're like, hit that person. No, wait, hit that person. No, wait, hit that person. Wow, Rayrock says he got 3 Zeta in this event this morning. What's up with that? Yeah, Rambam, with the Make Mesa great again. I totally agree with that slogan. Why not? Make Mace great again. I totally buy into that slogan. So those were the events. Let's see. I haven't done any of my other stuff. I didn't do anything this morning. I didn't spend energy or anything. I did set my defense, but I don't want to show that because I went different than I have done in the past. I'm stretching myself really thin. I'm nervous about Grand Arena. I'm actually very nervous about Grand Arena because I did something with my team I didn't do in the past. And I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to clear the other side now, but that's all right. I'm hoping for a stronger showing this time. So we're going to see. Hopefully. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I put a little bit more energy into the studying and the analysis piece of it. It's really the first time since I've been back in the last 6 months that I did any of this analysis. Normally I just throw some teams in. That's honest to God what I do. I don't really care. I just throw teams in. This time I actually did the analysis and paid attention to what I had, what they had, that kind of thing, and checked it all out. So hopefully all of that pays off. If it doesn't, well, shoot. Hopefully it does. Will I stream my GAC? I will be streaming some of them. I won't be streaming this next one because I won't have the opportunity to. But I'll be working. But quests, what did I do? I have a new one. Destroy the AAT's turret 10 times. Why is this one popping up? Why is that a thing? How is that ever going to happen? We sim that. What? That'll never happen. We sim that now. I will be doing GAC. I will be simming some of them in this season, or simming them. I will be showcasing GAC in this season. This next one, I don't think so. I'll be at work. Which is one reason why I wanted to go over offensive, defensive teams with all of y'all, so we could kind of go over which ones we would be using or not using. Although I stretched myself thin a little bit, so I'm interested to see how it works out. Let's see, what am I farming? Let's go in and let's get some materials. So we're doing these. Get my refreshies. I've been so busy at work. There's been days where I have not been able to place first, but there's been days when I've been able to place first. I've been hoarding crystals for today so I could do this. Pretty neat. All right. Oops. Let's get some of this stuff. Let's get some. I love how it drops so much on the first node, but then on the other ones, it's like 5. Like, watch. Let's get the other one. This one right here. This one, it never drops. Like, it's like 8, and it will drop like 3. Watch. Oh my gosh, it dropped 7. Thank you, Livestream Luck. What? Make me a liar. Please make me a liar. Holy cow, I got almost 1 for every sim. That was amazing. That was awesome. Very cool. All right. Trying to get some of mine to 6E. Let's slice some more of this material. I actually like when I'm at work and I'm so busy that I don't get to climb. That's always a good thing for me. That means I'm making a lot of money at work. So that's a good thing. I've had a couple of those days this last week. So that was good. Where I'm like, I look down and I'm like, oop, I missed my payout. That's good. There's a guy that competes with me for first. He likes it. He's always like getting kicked out of first place. And so I'm sure he watches the time pass by while he's sitting in first, shaking like, oh, please, God, hope it's busy at Warriors work today. Because, you know, him and I compete for that first place slot back and forth. So I bet he's like excited when he sees me not make it. He's like, haha, I got it, which is fine. That's good. It's good that other people get the first place rewards. You know what I mean? It's good. Doesn't bother me. Let's get some of this stuff. Yeah, these stupid things. I get a ton of them, but I can't craft them. I have nowhere to craft them. It's so stupid. You should have a crafting place to be able to fully craft gear. Give me that, Capital Games. Give me a fully crafting slot. There we go. I need these because I break them down for, obviously for relics. Plus, I need to actually build some bayonets for Cam. I'm building gear for Cam right now. I know it's 5 months out, but I'm going to build every piece of Gear 12 and every piece of Gear 12 Plus for Cam. Sounds stupid, but I'm doing that 6 months early, 5 months early now. It was 6 months. It's now 5 months. Every month I want to build another piece of gear for him. So it's when it's there, it's there. And if you're wondering, I already built one piece of gear for him. Here, I'm almost done with this one. Let's keep going. Because when I pop to Cam to Gear 12, which is going to be in 5 months, I want to take him to Gear 13 on day 1. So it's a little plan and preparation. You look him up, you find out what he needs for Gear 12, which I did, and then you farm all that gear on the side. So he's secretly being farmed for. I already have one of my pieces for him. Let's get all this stuff claimed. I claim you. I claim you. All right. Yeah, one of his pieces is right here. He needs 2 of these. He needs 2 of these keypads. So I built one. I need to build another one. So I'm working on this. Let's see if I can get more of these. Now, I'm also working on the other characters in my... But yeah, I got to build this, and then I've got to build a couple of those bayonets, which is fine. All right, so it looks like it's time for story time. Let's see, where am I at on arena and stuff? Pretty decent, I suppose, in the 20s and teens. Yep, 12th place in arena. That's good. Fleet at rank 26. That's not bad. Man, I fall out of the 50s sometimes. We are competitive in my fleet. Pretty competitive anyway. I know other fleets that people drop out of the, top 100 or whatever, but out of first place into the top, out of the top 50, I drop out of the top 50 a lot. I'd have to climb all the way back up to the first every day. Fleet sucks. And it's the same repetitive battles. So it's kind of boring. I wish that it wasn't the same as it was 2 years ago. Regular arena is fun. I don't mind that. It's interesting. It's paper, rock, scissors. We've got kind of an interesting squad arena. We have lots of different teams being utilized, and it kind of ebbs and flows. So we've got, we've got the Jedi teams, we got the C teams, we've got First Order teams, First Order teams, C teams, we got Ray teams. So it's all, hodgepodge. There's another Ray team, First Order. And they all climb up and get first place. And what's cool is it's all paper, rock, scissors. So like one can beat the other one can beat the other one. So it's kind of funny. We can, if you can't beat this person, you could beat that person. So everybody beats somebody else. So it's all paper, rock, scissors. So I think that's what they wanted with Galactic Legends. You could chase one. And if you have them all, the good news is, if the person you're competing with only has one, you can find the one they can't beat and put that one in. It's kind of messed up, but that's the advantage now, is you have the one that they can't do. So Darth Vader says, I have a younger shard. My shard is 6 months away from the beginning of the game. My shard was built in June or May. I can't remember which, May or June of 2016. So it's not I don't know if you were talking to me or them. Probably somebody else. Anyway, let's go into story time. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, all right. Let's get over there. Da, da, da. Whoa. I'm going to add more to my background behind me. That'll be fun. I got to do something about the angle and stuff too, because I got it going from here, and I can do it from there, and I'm thinking about doing multiple angles. That'll be fun. I'm just having fun with it. I'm not, like I said, hobby. This is just me having fun. So hopefully you guys have fun with it. So yeah, story time. So I don't know. I get all philosophical, and I apologize if nobody likes that. So if you don't, turn it off now. I have fun with it. So my wife and I do, we do marriage courses, Marriage 101. It's for people that are going to get married and they want to learn about tools. And we were in that class. We're teaching that class for the next 2 months. And we meet with these couples and we talk to them and stuff at the beginning, get to know them and all of that. And what's fun is we get to engage, interact with those individuals. And a lot of them become lifetime friends, which is actually a super blessing. It's super fun to get to know people. I love hanging out with and meeting new couples and making lifetime friendships with people. It's really pretty cool. But previous to this week, we were hanging out with another individual. They are not a part of this. The only reason why we were using this is because it's a kind of a tool we teach, but we just use it. It's a tool we use, my wife and I use. And we were with a different couple at our house. We're playing cards. We do this all the time. We had a couple friends over, and they were like, hey, can we bring some friends over? And we're like, well, of course you can bring friends over. And so you never know. That's kind of the rule at Warrior's House is, you can come whenever you want, right? You're going to come over and play games. You just never know who's going to be at my house. So, and that's just kind of on you. If you come, expect to be around somebody you might not know. So it's just one of those things. It's a social place. And you got to be okay with that. If you want to have like one-on-one time with me, you need to tell me that so I know, because otherwise, if you're just saying, hey, if I say, hey, you want to come over and play cards or something, and you don't clarify with me that you want it to be one-on-one time, boy, you're going to be running into somebody you may not know. It's just the way it works. I'm just very, very social. We do activities all the time at the house. We have, we play cards, we play board games, Settlers of Catan, nines, 5 crowns, golf, all sorts of things, dominoes, whatever. So that's just the family. That's just the culture that we have here at the house. So one of my friends says, yeah, let's come over to the house and play. And I was like, sure. And he's like, can I invite another couple? I was like, yeah, come on over. And so he brings this other couple over. And so this other couple comes over and they start talking, and they get into this situation where they kind of start arguing. And that's not uncommon, by the way, but couples arguing happens all the time. And it happens all the time everywhere. It happens all the time around us as well. We see it. So that's not uncommon. But the situation goes very similar. And it's just simply a tool that the couple's missing. And so we interject and we give them a tool. And it literally like revolutionized their situation in that moment. And they started practicing it. And immediately it like started to help them. And so it's just funny. It's one of those things where I like to share, not just with them, but with you guys and with everyone, you know, tools, things like that you can put in your tool belt. And if it helps you, great relationally. If it doesn't, so what? You can ignore me, right? And so if it helps, awesome. Hopefully it does. Ray Rock says Warrior's house is playing games and eating egg rolls. Dude, you've got it right there, man. We eat food and we play games. It's a social place where we just chill, have fun. And my wife is the best cook, man. She can do it all. And egg rolls are definitely on the menu. So what is this tool that we gave them that helped them so much with their arguing and fighting and stuff? And it's funny because it's not uncommon. In fact, if you've ever gone to a restaurant, you know, you've used this or you've seen this tool being utilized. If you've ever been in a sales environment, you've probably seen this or the tool's been used on you. In fact, I do sales, right? So I use this tool all the time. And it's not manipulation. It's actually called active listening. But that's not in fact the tool itself. Active listening is not the tool. So it's part of it. So what it is you've got to agree to a specific word, and that word is the tool. And the reason why we use a word is because our brains need to be activated to basically focus on the moment. And so we use a word because then that engages us in the moment to, hey, this is something and we need to pay attention to this something. And so the word is sounding board. Sounding board means that so you have to define it for both parties, and both parties have to agree on the definition. And if both parties agree to the definition, then they can both use this word as the tool. And so the definition is sounding board. A sounding board is, hey, I just need to say something. I just need you to listen. That's it. That's all. You are absolved of any responsibility of fixing anything. All you got to do is listen. Now, the cool thing is guys, we always want to fix it, right? We always want to like fix. And, you know, our partners always, a lot of times just need to kind of vent, pop the top, need to say something or whatever. And half the time that individual actually probably already knows what they need to do. They just need to kind of release or let go or get off their chest, so to speak, whatever. And so, when they come to a conversation, if they can preface that conversation to us with sounding board, that absolves us of that responsibility, and it makes it an easy conversation for us, because then all we have to do is listen and go, oh, okay, we're absolved. All we got to do is listen. And then at the end, if they need a solution, they can then ask for that. And then we can put on our thinking caps and help them with a solution at the end. But so we told them that. We told them how to use it and everything. They engaged, used it all throughout the night. It was actually amazing to watch them do that. Now there's another technique in that, and that is called the McDonald's method. And that's the method you guys have probably seen and utilized in your life, or seen people utilize. And what the heck is a McDonald's method? Well, that's when you're actively listening, using the sounding board, when you're actually using the sounding board technique and you're actually listening to the other person, you repeat back to them what they're saying. So what I hear you saying is blah, blah, blah. It's just like McDonald's. When you go through and you order, like, I want a Big Mac, fries, and Coca-Cola, and my fries be a medium, you know, they're like, what I hear you saying is you want a Big Mac with fries, medium, and a Coke. Is that correct? It's pretty simple, right? It's just repeating back the order. It's the same thing. We call it the McDonald's method. I call it the McDonald's method because it's simply that. And we use it in sales because we want the customer to understand. We understand. So they'll say, hey, you know, I want to get a new bed. I'm looking for a king, and my back hurts. So what I hear you saying is your back has driven you in to come get a new mattress. I'm sorry to hear that. We got a solution for your back, and you're looking for a king mattress. Is that correct? Yeah, that's exactly it. So they feel listened to. So every one of you are in relationships with friends, family, coworkers, could be a significant other, might be children. This sounding board situation works with literally 100% of those people. So every one of you coexist with other human beings. Hopefully the sounding board technique will work really, really famously for you. It works for 100% of the people we've integrated it into. And the McDonald's method works famously to help them understand that you're being empathetic and actually using that tool to the advantage. And so the way it works is they come to you, they want to talk, they say, hey, sounding board, and you go, sure, no problem. And then you actively listen, and in the process, you use the McDonald's technique, which is where you kind of empathetically respond to what they're saying. It's pretty simple, but that's the story time. And the reason why I brought it up was because we happened to integrate it into this couple who happened to come over to our house, and they were going from pure chaos mode in our home. They don't even know us, to all of a sudden like peace and tranquility. And they were just simply using one new technique, and it was like life-changing. And so it was just weird. Sometimes it's funny. You just need a different perspective on things. And, you know, if it helps them and it helps us, it might help somebody else out there. So I figured I would give something out there like that. I know a lot of people are like, hey, man, I came here to watch Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. What the hell is this? But again, it's story time with Warrior, and that's what you get. You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. As always, I appreciate you coming on for Warrior Wednesdays, Grand Arena Championships. I hope you guys learned something about the offense and defensive teams, why you'd want to do that, some of the tweaks that I would make, and had some fun hanging out with Warrior. As always, make sure you guys keep your gaming on. Warrior out.